Welcome to Kidmissing TV. This is the case of Katherine Hull and the body, or skull, in the Pittsfield State Forest. Pittsfield is one of the last towns before you get to New York State in Massachusetts. The hunter that found her said, quote, "I was so startled that for a few minutes I stood petrified." Katherine was a 22-year-old stenographer from Syracuse, New York. She had been visiting her grandmother in Lebanon Springs. And this was April 2nd, 1936. And left to walk up the old road toward Pittsfield, appearing lighthearted. She assured them she'd be back for supper. There she is. She did not arrive back by dark. Her parents upped a reward that was issued to $1,000, which is $28,000 something today. Just over $28,000. I looked it up earlier. They're saying that she had bouts of melancholy, which is that era's way of saying depression, and that she could be very quiet, seldom smiled, concentrates deeply, is religious, cannot be drawn out in conversation, not apt to talk about herself or confide in anyone, very polite and well-mannered, quite attractive, but sober-faced, very neat in her dress and appearance. Any peculiar traits are not objectionable, and is a girl who could not be disliked. If seen on the streets, she walks quite fast with peculiar up-down motion. Walks with eyes straight ahead as if sighting something in the distance and hurrying to get there." End quote. In 1943, the hunter, Howard Boland, discovered the skull sitting in the crook of a tree, and it took him a minute. As I quoted from him, he said, "I was so startled that for a few minutes I stood petrified." I can't even imagine. Oh, and they were trying to get her dental records, right? She had had 3 dentists during her life, and here's what happened to her 3 dentists. One had retired and moved away. One had died, and one had been murdered. Yeah, great. They did have limited dental charts, and Massachusetts State pathologist Dr. Alan Moritz had found enough similarity that it, to quote him, "almost removed all doubt that the skeletal remains found on the mountain are those of Katherine Hull." The case is considered closed, officially, but decades later, Richard Happel wrote in the Berkshire Eagle, dated February 22nd, 1972, quote, "To this day, it's not known definitely who died in the mountain forest long ago." Her body would have had to have evaded the searches. How? Michael Dooling, who is an author, a news librarian, and a son of a state police detective in Connecticut, sees similarities between the 1946 disappearance of Paula Weldon, 40 miles north in Bennington, Vermont, and that of Connie Smith, who went missing in 1952 between Salisbury and Lakeville in Connecticut. He wrote a book in 2016 called Clueless in New England. I had him on my podcast. Unfortunately, that's one of the ones that Blog Talk got rid of. He thinks it's possible there's a serial killer. I agree. But they say 3 women. Connie wasn't a woman. Connie was a 10-year-old, but she had the size of a woman. She was 5 feet tall and starting to develop. So people would have thought she was much older. You know, they should be doing DNA testing to make sure that that's really her. That's just my opinion. There are no phone numbers or anything in this case. Because it sounds like they didn't have very much dental, if any, and they just assumed it was her. They didn't say whether there was any clothes or anything found with her. That would be interesting to know, too. You know, if they know what she was wearing and the clothes match, that would be another clue pointing to it being her. But I haven't heard anything about that. And whoever, she didn't die naturally and have her head end up sitting in the crook of a tree. Although there was someone who took the blame for that, put it there so they could find it later or some stupid thing. But I don't know that I believe that person. Excuse me. It was put there for shock value, in my opinion. So, yeah, I almost forgot to do this video. I actually did the video. And I said, shoot, I didn't edit the video. And then I remembered I cleared the card, which meant the video was gone. I also put the Clueless in New England link under one of the videos that I did. But anyway. But that's okay. I'll put that link under this video as well. So yeah, it's, to me, I think she was murdered. Because you don't die and put your own skull in a tree. It was put there for shock value. Whether it was later, someone came across the remains and put it there, or it was the killer. I don't know. But what I do know is I do not believe that she died of natural causes. They said she suffered from melancholia and so would have bouts of amnesia. From depression? I don't know about that, one way or the other, but I don't think so. So, you can join, before I do that, I just want to say that Pittsfield, as I mentioned, is right on the New York border. There's actually a National Archives in Pittsfield. A National Archives and Records Administration office. Generally, we go to the one in Waltham. It's an hour away, but the one in Pittsfield's like 3 hours away, so... and that's what I was going to tell you. It's about 3 hours from me, west. Ow, ow. Ow. And it's, probably an hour from my uncle in New York. It's further away from Syracuse, because Syracuse is a little north and a little west of my uncle. So And I think they would have found her when they started searching for her in April rather than a hunter finding her in December on a mountain. Think about that. Snow. Anyway, so that's just my opinion. That man must have went through the rest of his life not being able to get that picture out of his head. I can't even begin to imagine. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Please subscribe if you are new and hit that bell. Please check out Monkey's World and subscribe over there and hit that bell. It's a little more lighthearted over there. We have fun. We cook, we play games, video games and stuff. We do all sorts of different things. And you learn more about me and my family. So, bye guys. Thank you so much.